Hello there, my name is Arne the Coach. Welcome back to the channel, and we're gonna quickly go over quite a big thing that's going on with Liverpool over the last few days with the reduction of Martin Zubimendi a couple of days ago. After the Ipswich game, wanted to basically go over what I think Liverpool can do in terms of getting another CDM. So right here we've got the lineup of everybody who played in this game. Against Ipswich, can't forget the keeper. And we've just taken, the one player out. And we're going to go over two options that I think Liverpool could go for. And the third option is who I think Liverpool will go for. But at the end, I'm going to say, who works for what, basically. This isn't so much as a comparison as it is me just pointing out players and saying this player could work in a sort of way. I'm not comparing them. I'm not saying each other's better or worse than the other options Liverpool have. But it's just with the situation that Liverpool are in currently, they could use some players, and there are only two of them because Liverpool aren't looking to buy quite a lot of players. So I've just picked, players Liverpool could get, fit that role, do different things, but could absolutely fit into this sort of team. So let's get it started, and let's go to the first player, Nicholas Seawold. For those who don't know, he plays for RB Leipzig, 5'10", 23 years old. When you see his initial stats on this website, this is FBref, by the way. I use this to look at multiple players. This is what I use for this video. I was going through lots of different players. When you see his standard stats, what pops off to you initially is the tackles. 98, up there, like the highest in terms of, as we see here, men's big leagues, UCL, UEL over the last year. Based on 929 minutes played, so that's not that much, obviously. But from what he has done and what he does tell us, defensively good, assists, 0.19. Again, not that much, but he's already played, 10, 11 games. There isn't too much to take, but if we just go down here, so we look at the, standard stats, 99% again. This is all being skewed by the fact he didn't play that many games. But what I wanted to go down to was down here. Well, let's firstly look at goal and shot creation. So we see defensive actions that lead to a shot attempt and the live ball pass here. So being able to create goals. But this is what I want to talk about here. Again, we have to take this with a grain of salt. He hasn't played the full season. But for 10 games, this in comparison is very, very impressive. Because the way that RB Leipzig play, for those who don't know, they play like a 4-2-2, which is a 4 in defense, 2 CDMs, 2 wide cams, kind of like a mix between like cams and wingers, and 2 strikers. So they don't play quite a defensively stable position. Obviously they've got the two covering the back 4, but that's pretty much it. When we see these, 98 percentile for tackles, in the middle third is tackle plus interceptions. It all looks really impressive, right? Like dribblers tackled, his tackles across the defensive, midfield and attacking third all look quite good. But this is what interested me the most, is possession. Defensive touches So touches in the defense in his own penalty area up here in his defensive third. This much middle and attack. One thing with me for Liverpool is that in Slot's system, Liverpool aren't playing the sort of really high counter pressing energetic style of Jurgen Klopp. Slot likes to play a much more calm game. Obviously, Endo is only DM of the club currently. There are some youth players, Stefan Bajcetic or Bajcetic, I want to pronounce it, and Tyler Morton. I personally believe Stefan will be ready, but not for first team. You can definitely see him getting more game time this year than he did last year, obviously before the injury. Tyler Morton does look to be good, but again, probably going to be introduced more later into the season. Or maybe used as a sub in, the smaller games versus the promoted sides and the cup games. Things like that. But one thing that needs to be noticed about this is when we're talking about Nicholas Ewald, he doesn't have the most impressive stats, I'm very aware. But his ability in his own defensive third, he'll do his job and will stay in his defensive third and in his own half. That could be massive for Liverpool. I'm not comparing him to this player, but a few years ago, when we had Thiago was a brilliant player. Fantastic. Didn't, play up to his level at Liverpool that he showed previously, but still a magnificent player. It's a shame that injuries took that career away. But I always felt Thiago, when he was at his best, is when he was playing in that sort of space between the midfield and the attack. But he wasn't going too forward and he wasn't too defensive either. But if he ever needed to, he could sort of drop into space, pick the ball up and just send it forward. And teams couldn't keep following. Because of the way Liverpool played, if he pressed him, he just passed the ball across. Or he just play a simple pass and Liverpool go straight ahead. I'll try to demonstrate what I'm talking about here. So let's just say in this sort of space here, let's use McAllister as an example. Thiago would pop up in like areas like this. And he'd be able to immediately fire pass through into these sort of areas here. And it was beautiful to see. Next to Fabinho and Henderson, two players that could cover him defensively, he was allowed to do this. He sort of, could drop back a little bit more, get the ball across and look to be making that late run into the box. Not particularly getting into areas like this, but the ability that he had, drop into areas like this, be able to dribble past somebody or just hold the ball, and whether it's under pressure or not, just being able to play the simple pass, the free pass to almost anybody is something I think Liverpool are looking for. Maybe Zubimendi could do it, maybe he can't. I'm not really seeing that much of him to talk about him. But if Liverpool done their scouting correctly and they did go for him, I assume that he maybe could do that, or at least was good in his passing ability. Or maybe all that's wrong and he's so defensively astute and knows how to win the ball back. He doesn't need to be passing the ball that much when you look at the players Liverpool have. Nicholas Ewald can also play these sort of areas, but defensively winning the ball back, making those simple decisions and just allowing everyone else to play forward could be exactly what Liverpool need. I know when we talk about Liverpool, we talk about attacking football. We talk about them being really aggressive, front-footed, absolutely pressing teams to oblivion. Like, not let them get out of their own half. Hell, not even let them get out of their own defensive third. Slot isn't going to play like that. He just isn't. His whole thing is he wants more possession of the ball. Like, he wants to have the wide wingers. He wants to run down the channels. And I have no problem with that. I actually quite like that style. It's very similar to, I think, what Bayern Munich sort of used to play back in the day. I know they did play quite a pressing thing, but against, let's say Barcelona, they were able to do that sort of drop back, get the ball in and attack, and I really love that. If we can do that for us, if I can do that sort of thing, I'm very happy with it. But that does need defensive-minded players who aren't gonna go forward. Apart from Endo and the other two I mentioned, McAllister will go forward. Szoboszlai will go forward. Gravenberch will go forward. Talk about Nicholas Seawold. In 10 games, he has shown that he doesn't really, and that could be a massive thing for Liverpool. His ability to get into these sort of areas, get the ball, and if someone's running and dropping in, just finds that pass. Let's say he gets across, and maybe he follows in here. He's kind of like a mix between, let's say, a Thiago and Henderson, where he can stay back, make the passes and cover people. Because he's not a slow player. I've seen Nicholas Seawood play before. He's not the slowest. Quite quick. In areas like this, where obviously we've seen Dom play before. Trent can move into. Hell, maybe even McAllister drops in. Robertson, if possible. Or Simicas. Or we play someone else on the left or in the middle, like Harvey across here. There's so many options in terms of being able to control the game when you have someone who will stay back, someone who you can have defensively, if we lose the ball, is immediately back there, ready and willing to just wait for the ball to come to them and just go for it. Not rushing out for the ball. And letting the ball come to them, working it, and just getting it forward again. The transitions are gonna be the killer for Liverpool. In terms of attack, you need players who wanna sit back. And I think Nicholas Seawold is that player. Whilst it might not look like he is the best player, what this is saying, he's still a young player. Not the tallest, not the strongest, but he's moldable. He'll stay back. Like, we can develop these sort of players we have previously. Worst case scenario, buy him as a backup. And we just use him when the time's right. Plus, he plays for Leipzig, so the link is already there. Liverpool and Leipzig have that partnership where they just buy players, from Germany over to Liverpool. It's just simple like that. So in terms of price, I'd guess maybe 25 to 30. Wouldn't be that expensive. Worst case scenario, backup. Good case scenario, starting CDM. Makes this just the simple work. Makes look good and just helps everyone else. Like the ultimate facilitator in that midfield. Now we're gonna talk about another man who I'm sure every single fan of Atlanta and anyone who watched the Europa League final last year talked about. Can't see him right here, but Edison. 6'1", 25 years old, CDM, centre mid, and an absolute beast. Obviously, look here, immediately his stats pop off the page. Progressive passes, non-penalty goals, interceptions. That looks like what Liverpool want, doesn't it? Fun thing, look here, similar players. Look who's here. Literally, I had Edison in my mind. I know there's Wendy, and Edison was already on here. So, according to the stats at least, and I know stats aren't the best thing to look at, but in a situation like this, top 5 player ain't the worst. But again, look here, progressive passes, yeah, non-penalty goals, there's non-penalty XG, none of this is that bad. Assists, okay, that's fine. As long as the goal goes in, I don't think anyone cares about who gets the assist. Shooting, his stats are really good for a player who sort of plays deeper. I know Atalanta and Gasperini are an extremely attacking side. At their pomp, they were the best attacking side in Europe, but they just were back in the day when they had, the Iliciches, the Gomez's, Zapata, I think at the time still there. They had Malinovsky. They had so much talent. They had a mirror at the back. They were just an ultimate attacking side. Gasperini still plays that way, so this isn't a shock. But in Italy, where the defense is so good, being able to get this amount of shots off successfully, like you look at his shot distance, 18. What's that? 18 yards away, I'm guessing. Or he shoots them far away. On target quite a lot of the time. Almost half, at least almost 1 in 2 of his shots hit the target. His score beats his XG. Well, that says passing the ball. Obviously, this is something Liverpool have been looking into. I mean, it just looks comfortable. Doesn't play short passing. That might be an issue. I don't think it is. Playing a 4-2-3-1 with wide wingers, we can just be playing those diagonal balls into the box. That doesn't really seem as much of an issue as it appears to be at the start. Passing types, again, switches the board quite a lot. That's how Liverpool play. That seems fine. Goal and shot creation. Successful take-ons that lead to a shot attempt, again, quite high. And defense. Number of dribblers tackled, that's 69.4%. Number of unsuccessful attempts, again, you don't try, you're never gonna know. I'd happily see him lose the ball 2 times to win it back once, because he could not try and 3 times just let the opponents through. So, I mean, look at his interceptions, and his tackles and interceptions at the same time. Carries into the penalty area, so much more attacking player in this instance. I mean, anybody who saw the Europa League final knows that against one of the best teams in the world, in Xavi Alonso's Leverkusen, who held so much talent in your Verts, Xhaka, though some of them weren't playing, your Schicks, your Bonifaces, Hoffman, Teller, Tar, Grimaldo, Frimpong. This man was probably the best, or arguably second best player on that pitch. just behind Lookman, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Lookman had the performance of his life, and Edison was still the focus for me. Against a midfield that had seemingly looked unbeaten, this man was just fantastic. Obviously, another player Liverpool haven't interested in previously, Teun Koopmeiners. I was looking at him, but he does look to be on his way to Juventus. Under Mara, he'll do well under that sort of system. Maybe if that didn't go, who knows? Maybe we wouldn't buy him considering how much he goes forward. But Edison's still here. Liverpool are interested. Again, wouldn't cost that much. Obviously more than Nicholas Seaworld. But I'm thinking, in that 35 to 45 million range. Maybe 50 reaching on to 60 if Atlanta can, rinse Liverpool a bit and just fiddle with their pockets a little bit. Pause. But, just get them to, add some more dollars or pounds under the bid. Considering if we need him that much. But getting back onto him, he is an elite player in the big situations. Defensively fine, attacking fine, box to box, capable on both sides, stamina for days. One thing I think that was kind of overlooked in that Europa League game, how much he was running. I swear there's one passage of play, Leverkusen had the ball, I think, down the right. Maybe Frimpong had it, or maybe Grimaldo. I think Grimaldo's playing striker, maybe Grimaldo had it. And Edison just followed him all the way back to left or right back. And he just tackled whoever Leverkusen player had it, I think. Or maybe he didn't tackle, but he was in that area. Ball got back up to Atlanta, played some beautiful football. And the ball gets into Leverkusen's defensive third. Edison's making one on the outside of the box. I swear I've just seen him on the other side of the pitch. How has he got here this fast? And it doesn't look like he's sprinting either. It looks like he's calmly pacing himself. And he's just managed to cover the whole length of a pitch so quickly. Not even that, he's not even starting at account. He's set to mid. He doesn't have to go up there. He's done his work, gone back, and decided to keep going forward and looks so comfortable. That's Liverpool. That's as Liverpool as it gets. We love players like that, endless. We got follow players almost into the changing room, into the bathrooms. Have the stamina and the determination to fight for that ball, even if it looks completely lost. This could definitely be an option for us starting. Someone who's capable, if we need to play more attacking, can play more defensive. You could see him and Seawold maybe suiting more with an Endo than McAllister or Szoboszlai. But I think Edison mainly will be fine either way. He can be that sort of rock that we need. Gets played, just goes bang. Takes him out, wins the ball, gets it forward. Or he can be that sort of, late one into the box. Takes the ball, and as we've seen, he shoots from range. Makes the keeper work. We don't do that much as we like to, but with Monday football, with how defensive everyone is, no one can blame you if you get the ball and you shoot. Create a chance for your team out of nowhere. And just to do that. He's my favourite here, obviously. I think Seawood's more like a bench player. Edison will be my number one choice. But out of these two, I would think Liverpool are going to go more for Edison. But my ultimate decision is going to be Liverpool's own Flying Dutchman, as he was in this match. Ryan Gravenberch. he was sensational against Ipswich. Looked like an entirely different beast under Slot. I swear, when he first came, I thought this guy was a cam, and certainly he struggled. And as a double pivot, he just seemed, like a class player. The passes he was making, he dropped into space, turn and go. Like, it was a Busquets-esque performance. I'm not even lying to you. Where he just dropped in to play. Everyone knew that the ball was coming to him at times. It didn't matter. Just turned, went and played it. Obviously, against top teams, you can't play McAllister and Gravenberch. I'd assume Endo would come into the team. Or maybe Soboslai and McAllister would sort of both be playing, like this, be playing maybe a bit more defensive. But under Slot, I think Gravenberch will get more game time. With his performance against Ipswich, he's definitely, showing that he's deserving of that spot. And if he can keep going, keep putting performances in like that, he will be a top player, no doubt about it. So that is all I've got to say about that, really. Edison, SeaWorld options, but ultimately there isn't going to be no fish out of water. We're just going to have Gravenberch, I think. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Until next time, have a great day, and see you then.